Hello, welcome to Post Colonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and today I'm going to take a little bit of your time to introduce the Norton Anthology of Theory and Literature. Someone had sent me a query about recommendations about which book to use for teaching a theory course, or also to use as a graduate student to learn theory in a more chronological order, right? Philosophical and chronological order. So I've always used in my classes this volume. It's a huge volume by Norton, and it's called the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism. This is the third edition of it. It is probably the most expensive book that I've ever assigned, and there's a reason why I assign it. First of all, I find it to be one of the most comprehensive books on literary theory. Comprehensive in a sense that it covers original works by philosophers and theorists all the way from the beginning of the so-called Western tradition to the present. And that it also incorporates, sometimes in contemporary theory, of course, the voices from the so-called margins. But if you are, let's say, planning to teach a literary theory course for graduate students, you could use a simple reader that explains different approaches to literature, right? And then within that, whosoever are the major theorists within that approach, let's say the new critics and others, you can then use this book to read in more detail, how is it that they made their argument, like people like John Crowe Ransom and everyone else, right? Or Derrida, Foucault. The book is organized also very interestingly, right? So there is just a page-by-page index, right, where from introduction all the way to the end, and you can go by that and follow a chronological historical index of theory. But there is also a table of contents which is theme-based, right? So cultural studies, deconstruction and post-structuralism, gay and lesbian criticism, post-colonial theory. So you can either go by a thematic table of content, which doesn't have page numbers, but it lists the people whose works are included in here. And then at the end, it also has a very extensive author and title index. So let's say you wanted to look for something by Barth and see that's in this book, you can always go by the author index. So overall, as I already pointed out, this is a bit expensive. The new one costs about $80, right? But if you buy a used copy from Amazon or elsewhere, it could be cheaper. You don't necessarily need the latest edition. If you could just purchase an older edition, most of the materials are in there. But what it would do for you as literary scholars, graduate students, is that it will give you a book that you can keep and refer to if you want some canonical or seminal texts of any theoretical field. More importantly, if you're teaching theory, then you can use the excerpts from the book according to the copyright law of wherever you are. Here we can use 33% of a book, copy it and use it, which for a book like this would be a lot, right? It's a lot of pages. So I highly recommend it. I recommend it also because every philosopher or theorist whose work is included here, there is also a really good introduction to them. Sometimes the introductions are even more important than the work included in the book. So not only is it well edited, and has the collection of essays that anyone could use, it also has some really well-researched introductions to each and every philosopher or theorist who is included here. And of course, all major schools of literary theory are represented in the text, and pretty much all the major voices in any given literary theory. If you're interested in third world feminism, you'll find your feminists here. If you're interested in Marxism, you'll find the major Marxists here. Same with structuralists, post-structuralists. So overall, I hope this answers the question, whosoever had sent it to me, that if I were to recommend just a single book for you to own and read and use in your graduate studies, but also in your teaching, that would be the Norton Anthology of Theory and Criticism. I must clarify here that this is not being paid for by Norton or anything else. This is not a sponsored video, but just me answering a question about a usable literary theory text which has major essays and contributions from all the major philosophers and theorists whose work has contributed to the body of knowledge that constitutes literary theory. That's it. I hope this is useful to you. I hope you check out the book. I'll post a link to it in the description. And as always, if you have any questions, please send them my way. Hope you're staying safe and taking care of each other. Please continue to do so, and I will now see you next time. Until then, as always, peace and love.